Hi, Acquiesce here. If I seem a little flustered, it's because I just screamed at my cat. I apologize. Um, I'm doing a video on Dragons Within, Embracing Her Fire. This is a compilation. It is a series of short stories. They're all indie authors, so all independent authors. None of the names are actually familiar to me, so these are all unknown authors, but mad respect. A lot of people couldn't bring themselves to do that, and I will give you all the support you deserve because this can be extremely hard and extremely terrifying, so props to you. Um, this one, from the introduction, it's supposed to be inspiration, not for your everyday happy-go-lucky, this is my happy ending. These are people who have been traumatized or have struggled or just see no way out, and yet they still keep going. These are the fighters, and a lot of us need that. A lot of these people in these short stories see no way out, or they've just lost hope and they're at their last dregs and they just want to push through it. And it's nice because it's showing us that even though we're at our end, we can keep going. Um, Now, Dragons Within implied dragons to me. However, not all the stories seem to have dragons. Um, some of them seem to just be embodying the fierceness that, as a culture, we relate to a dragon. Um, Ferocious, strong-willed, and unwilling to bend. And it's nice to see that just this person can have that fierceness even when everything just seems so hopeless. It's nice to know that you can be that fierce, that just being you can be enough. You just have to struggle through it. Now, I personally would put a trigger warning on this. There is not explicit details, but there are references to, um, in one particular story that I can think of, sexual assault. In another, there is mental and physical abuse. Um, so if you have a very vivid imagination, um, those stories might not be for you. Me personally, I struggled through the pirate one specifically for the implied sexual assault. It was not explicit, there were no details there, but it is written well enough that you get a very clear image. For me, myself, I will probably read this book again, but I will probably not read that story. That is nothing against the author because it was extremely well done. And I did read it the first time because sometimes I can push through those and sometimes I'll be okay because I like the ending. And the ending of it was fantastic. But for me personally, I will not be putting myself through that story again. And that's just me personally. However, I would be more than happy to read others of their works, and I hope I do find it because it was that well written. And that's a sign of a good writer. But again, take heed. Some of these aspects are not for everybody. But that's the benefit of a book like this. It is short stories, and for me, like I said, I will not be reading that one again. But I can just skip to the next story. I don't have to worry about it. I can just go ahead. I don't have to avoid an entire book. I can still support the author. I can still support all the other authors. I can read this book as many times as I want without having to read that story. And they will still get all the support they deserve because they are a good author. So I view that as an actual major benefit of this book. Now, again, I don't want to call anyone out because it is what it is, unfortunately, and I respect their writing style. They did very well on several things, like I said. There were some interesting takes on some things. There was takes on dragon lore, dragon history, on dragon breeds, um, on just the cultural aspect of how we view dragons is in several of these stories. The favorite, though, is actually a take on Hades and Persephone. I loved that story. I really did. And it was just a nice little story about Hades and Persephone. I think that would honestly be top three for me. Um, Persephone had horrible time. Hades was out of his element, and they both fight to sort out the entire mess. And they do so without the atypical "we're getting married" at the end. And it was nice. Um, Another one I really enjoyed actually reminded me of a video game. The entire lore behind the video game. The idea that we are tied to these dragons through our history, through our heritage, was in this, and I enjoyed that. Like, they had a whole dynamic and a whole system that even in a short story, I had like this whole mental world in my head, and it was fantastic. Another, it was well written, but I spent most of the story completely confused. Like, it covers the entire spectrum. Everything. From trauma to fighting through struggles to history and culture and creating a world. It has everything, and I would highly recommend this. Again, me personally, I would put a trigger warning on due to some aspects of some of the stories, just me personally. And if those are triggers for you, it's okay. You can read the book. And if you find one that sets you off, skip to the next story. Again, bonus. You don't have to read what you don't want to. And you can still show all the love and support you want for these authors that they absolutely deserve. So, highly recommend Dragons Within, Embracing Her Fire. There are two other books which I will be looking into getting for myself because I look forward to it. They also have the names dragons in the title, so I don't know if they're going to stick with the dragon theme or if it's just what the editor came up with for publishing it. I don't know. I'm looking forward to finding out because not all of it's about dragons. It's kind of cool. I like it. So, Mad Props, I recommend. Check it out. And I hope to see y'all later. Bye.